Yeah, guys, you can't make these sweeping generalizations. We don't stereotype on Torah talk.
Right, we won't have anything to do with that. All right, go to the next thing.
Strengthen Pharaoh's heart. That word strengthen could also be translated as... harden could also be translated as strengthen.
I say it's hardened. That's what the Torah really talks about. It's hardened his heart, made it impossible for him to do tshuva. It's like first God punished him, and then he punished him by taking away his opportunity to do tshuva, and then he became subjugated, enslaved by his bad decision.
Have you ever been like enslaved by your bad impulses?
Yes. You want to know what? You know what?
Yeah.
My decision to do this whole from thing. And now I'm stuck. Now I don't have a choice in the matter. I'm stuck till the end.
How do you react when people say, God told me to do X, Y, Z, or God spoke to me, or... Spirituality without organized religion is dangerous because you hear what you want to hear.
When someone says God spoke to them?
Yeah.
How do you react to that?
I'm suspicious. It jars me. Like, part of me kind of likes it all, you know, that's nice, but overall, I don't like it. It's not Jewish.
It's like the modern day prophets.
No, I don't trust their prophets. I don't trust people. People hear what they want to hear.
Like once a year I come into contact with somebody who like shows up on the internet and they claim that like they're some sort of prophet, or they've come into contact with angels. And there's one thing I've learned about them all. You ready for this? Mm-hmm. They all have a connection to Oklahoma. They all either lived in Oklahoma when this happened or live there now. They're all like involved somehow with Oklahoma. That state kind of gives me the willies. I don't want to go there because it's like it's the land of prophets.
How come the Torah records nothing about Moshe's descendants?
It does.
Really? Like what? Who?
There's a medrash, and it tells us that Rabbi Eliezer, listen to me, mm-hmm. Rabbi Eliezer, in the times of the Mishnah, mm-hmm. He was a Tana, mm-hmm. and he was a Tana. Rabbi Eliezer was a Tana in the time of the Mishnah, and the medrash tells us that Rabbi Eliezer is the descendant of Moshe. So the Mishnah is not going to say it, because the Mishnah is just a halacha, but the medrash on the sideline is going to say that's a descendant from Moshe. You want to hear the story? You know the story?
Sure. Okay.
The medrash tells us that when Moses was on Mount Sinai, God told him the entire Torah, right? Went through all the oral laws in detail, right? All the Mishnayos. And God was explaining the halachas of the paraduma, which is the red heifer. Mm-hmm. You following? Mm-hmm. And he said that he was explaining that there was the first Mishnah. If you look in the Second Para, if you look in Para, the first Mishnah of the first para, the very first Mishnah, is in the name of Rabbi Eliezer. Mm-hmm. And he started explaining what Rabbi Eliezer says about this Mishnah, about this halacha, and he was explaining it to Moshe. And Moshe was just so impressed with this Rabbi Eliezer and what he was doing and how he came up with like this whole thing. And he said, God, do me a favor. Promise me that Rabbi Eliezer will be one of my descendants. And God said, okay. And that's the story.
So I enjoy anonymous commenters as long as they add to the discussion or as long as they amuse me. It is easy for people such as myself who lead solitary lives to speak freely. I'm not married with kids. I don't have an employer. Most people have no such luxury, so if they're going to participate in a public chat, they will generally need to use an anonymous handle.
That's your side of it. So you like anonymous...
I'm fine with it as long as I feel like they're adding to the discussion or I find them amusing.
Okay,
go ahead.
Can I rebuttal that?
Yeah.
I can't stand it. It bothers me that we allow such a thing on the internet. This is one of the downfalls of the internet. This is why the internet, in many ways, is a repository. It's just like a toilet. It's like the bathroom in kindergarten. It's ridiculous. It's like any kid, right? can get onto the internet and is like, oh boy, I got my parents' account, you know, I got my parents, they're not home, and I'm going to get on, use their computer, and I'm going to get like a fake name here. I'm going to be like Big Pud, right? Big Pud gets internet, I'm going to say some big things on the internet, and I'm going to get on, and I'm going to get on these blogs, and I'm going to say what I really feel, you know, like, here, I'm Big Pud now, and Big Pud has some big things to say, and, you know, you're a douche, douche, and, you know, it's like, this is what the internet is filled with. It's like 90% of the internet, you know, all these anonymous blog people who like write in, they're just like, it's gross. I can't read most of this stuff. You go on like YouTube, like, you know, not just like, you know, if you go to like a YouTube, like, you know, some musician, it's all going to be like, ooh, nice songs. It's usually pretty mature, right? But if you go to like something that's like a little bit more controversial, like something about politics or something, it's like the grossest feedback, you know, that just, it's disgusting. Here's the thing, here's my point. You know, it's not the Torah way. Torah way is, you don't get an opportunity to be anonymous. You take responsibility. Don't be a coward. The Torah way is, if you say something, you got to be held to it. Who are you who says it? The Talmud, are you following? Is wall to wall. We know the names of who said what, right? And if it's an anonymous, it's
it doesn't say Big Pud.
No, you don't
Babylonia.
See Big Omer Big Pud, right? No, we don't say that, right? Big Pud said, yeah, you have till 6 hours to, you know, you have 6 hours to say Shema. No, it doesn't work like that, right? It doesn't work like Big Pud never like weighed in on when to say Shema, right? Like, it's like, you know, it's like Rabbi Akiva has an opinion, right? Rabbi Shmuel, right? And somebody's going to be, we're not going to hold like them, right? And it's going to be for posterity. Their opinion is going to be there immortalized for thousands of years as the opinion we don't hold like, right? Who today in the anonymous blogger, commenter, chat room, right? Who's anonymous, we don't know who you are, has the guts, right, to put their kahunas, to put their you know, their name on the line, and for 2,000 years everyone should know that that you're wrong, that we don't follow you, right? It's really easy to do when you don't exist, you know. Big Pud says you have all day to say Shema. We don't hold like Big Pud. So Big Pud doesn't care because he doesn't exist, right? But Rabbi Akiva isn't, we know who he is, right? The Jewish way is get some guts, mensch up, man up, take responsibility for what you say, and that's it. And, you know, people, you know, one thing Jews are not, we're not gutless, right? People say, oh, Jews are, you know, we are not gutless. We take responsibility. That's the Jewish way. We take responsibility for what we say. What are we looking at?
And Atlanta just intercepted the ball and ran it in for a touchdown.
Atlanta's
and the Falcons now have the lead.
Atlanta's going to win.
So, to what extent are we responsible for the quality of the chat in here? Like, to what extent do we exert a force field over the commenters and affect them?
Well, I think that...
And I'm not talking about the power to ban. I mean, just...
The what?
I'm not talking about the power to ban. Obviously, we have the power to ban people. I'm just talking about what effect, what power do we just as two people talking.
Right. But before we get to that, I think there should be a moderator. I don't think it should be me and you. And me should be like watching this, and a third person, maybe an intern, right? Maybe like a young intern, right?
Would it matter if she was male or female?
She would have to be female. I don't want a she-male, okay? She would be female, and maybe like 21, right? Maybe like she lived in like Florida or something. I'm just saying.
Okay.
You know, something like a 21-year-old in Florida, like if she wanted to come and be the moderator, that could be a good job for her. You know what I'm saying? And then she could just watch the chat, and like if things get out of line, she could tell people, do what you do, right? Okay. Now, what effect do we have on them? What do you mean in terms of what?
Well, I think that we have a dramatic effect. I think we attract a certain crowd, and that we attract a certain level of conversation. I would say that